Vader stood on the command deck and watched the blue world turn beneath his fleet. Palpatine's order was simple: make an example of it. The planet had refused new Imperial taxes, hidden refugees, and spread quiet rebellion. One command would burn its cities from orbit, but something in Vader did not move. He remembered another sky, another world, another life destroyed by fear and power. For the first time in years, he did not hear the Emperor's command as destiny. He heard it as chains. The admirals waited. The gunners locked targets. Then Vader gave a different order. Hold fire. Silence swept the bridge. Officers looked at each other, stunned. No one challenged him. Not yet. Vader turned to the lead admiral and ordered landing craft instead. Stormtroopers would seize the rebel leaders, not slaughter millions. The world would kneel, but it would live. News of the mercy spread fast. To the people below, Vader arrived like a nightmare that had chosen restraint. He crushed armed resistance in the capital, broke barricades, and captured the governor with his own hands. Yet hospitals were spared. Homes were left standing. Children did not die in fire. To the Empire, that choice was dangerous. Some officers called it weakness. Others saw something worse, a Sith Lord making decisions without the Emperor. Across the fleet, whispers grew. If Vader could refuse one order, what else could he refuse? Far away, on Coruscant, Palpatine felt the tremor through the Force. His anger was cold, not loud. Vader had not failed. He had disobeyed. That was the greater sin. When the transmission arrived, every light on the bridge seemed to dim. The Emperor had only 4 words for his apprentice. Return at once, Lord Vader. And for the first time since Mustafar, Vader did not move. The Emperor had called his apprentice home. But Vader's silence said more than any act of rebellion ever could. And somewhere in the dark, Palpatine began planning how to break him. Vader remained on the bridge after the Emperor's command faded into silence. Around him, officers stood frozen, unsure what fear mattered most, the Sith Lord before them, or the Master waiting on Coruscant. At last, Vader spoke. The fleet would stay in orbit. The planet below would be occupied, but no more cities would burn. Food depots would be protected. Medical centers would remain open. Any officer who disobeyed would answer to him. That was the moment everything changed. The Empire ruled through terror. Mercy had no place in Palpatine's design. Yet now the Emperor's own enforcer was choosing control over cruelty. And every captain in the fleet felt the danger in that choice. Some obeyed out of fear. Others obeyed because Vader's rule suddenly seemed stronger than the Emperor's rage. On Coruscant, Palpatine searched through the Force. He felt conflict inside Vader, but it was no longer the old pain he knew how to use. This was something colder, something far more dangerous. Choice. So Palpatine moved carefully. He did not send a battle group. He sent eyes. Imperial intelligence was ordered to watch Vader's officers. The Inquisitors were told to search the spared world for hidden Jedi, traitors, or any sign that Vader's mercy hid a larger plan. Then Palpatine issued another command. A rebel village on a nearby moon had sheltered army deserters. Vader was to wipe it out before dawn. The order reached the bridge. Everyone heard it. Everyone waited. Vader stared into the stars behind the viewports. If he obeyed, fear would hold. If he refused again, the Emperor would know this was not doubt. This was treason. Then Vader turned and gave a new course. Not toward the moon, toward the trap Palpatine had prepared. The conflict within him had finally become a war. Palpatine had tested Vader, and Vader had answered with defiance. Now the Emperor knew his apprentice was slipping beyond his control. And the next move would not be a warning. It would be a purge. Vader's shuttle never reached the rebel moon. Halfway through the route, he ordered the fleet to break formation and hold position above the spared world. The command stunned every officer on every deck. Palpatine had given a direct order. Vader had now refused twice. The reaction inside the Imperial ranks was immediate. Some captains stayed loyal to Vader because they feared him more than the Emperor. Others saw disaster ahead. They believed Palpatine would punish the entire fleet for this insult, and they wanted no part of it. Admiral Crest, an old servant of the Emperor, made the first move. He opened a private channel to Coruscant and reported Vader's disobedience. But Commander Vane, a younger officer who had seen whole systems burned for far less, blocked the signal, and sealed the communications deck. Blasters were drawn. Stormtroopers took sides. For the first time, the Empire's iron chain began breaking from the inside. Vader felt it all: fear, doubt, betrayal. He entered the command hall like a storm and stopped the clash with one crushing gesture of the Force. Men fell silent. Weapons hit the floor. Then Vader spoke. "The Empire needs order, not slaughter." Some heard wisdom in those words. Others heard rebellion. He ordered Crest arrested, but 3 officers objected at once. They accused Vader of treason in Palpatine's name. One reached for his sidearm. Vader's lightsaber ignited before the thought was finished. Red light filled the chamber. When the blade fell silent, the room belonged to him again. But victory solved nothing. The fleet was now divided, and every survivor knew the truth. Vader was no longer enforcing the Emperor's will. He was replacing it. Then a new transmission arrived from deep space. It did not come from Coruscant. It came from the Inquisitors, waiting for his answer. Palpatine's agents had entered the game at last. They were not coming to question Vader. They were coming to judge him. And the next chapter would decide whether this was only defiance or the start of open war. The Inquisitors arrived under black banners, their shuttle cutting through the fleet like a blade. No salute followed. No respect was offered. They came with the Emperor's authority, and everyone aboard Vader's flagship understood what that meant. The Grand Inquisitor led them onto the bridge with calm contempt. He carried Palpatine's message in person. A Force-sensitive child had been found hiding among the refugees on the spared world below. Vader was ordered to execute the child, kill the family protecting him, and prove that mercy had not weakened his hand. The test was cruel by design. Vader said nothing. He descended to the planet with the Inquisitors at his side and marched through ruined streets now filled with frightened civilians. The child was brought forward at last, no older than 10, trembling but unbroken. His mother stood in front of him. His father knelt, beaten by troopers, still begging for the boy's life. The Grand Inquisitor stepped closer. "Show the fleet who you are, Lord Vader." For one long moment, the future seemed to hold its breath. Then Vader ignited his lightsaber. Gasps filled the square. The red blade rose, then turned. In a single movement, Vader struck down the troopers holding the family. Another slash sent an Inquisitor to the ground. The others drew their spinning blades and attacked at once. Steel flashed. The crowd scattered. Vader moved like a machine, finally breaking its chains. One Inquisitor died on the steps. Another lost a hand and fled. The Grand Inquisitor escaped only because Vader let him carry the message back. This was no private doubt anymore. This was open defiance. As Vader looked at the child, he felt something shift across the Force. Far away, Luke Skywalker stopped and looked up into the dark of Tatooine alone. For the first time, Vader had protected life in full view of the Empire. Palpatine would now see him as more than disobedient. He would see him as dangerous. And across the stars, Luke had just felt the first echo of the father he never knew. On Tatooine, Luke Skywalker had no words for what he felt. One moment, he was fixing a vaporator beneath the twin suns. The next, a cold shock ran through him, as if someone far away had cried out without a sound. It was not simple fear, it was conflict. Rage and sorrow, power and mercy. Luke dropped his tool and stared at the horizon, shaken by a darkness that had suddenly chosen not to kill. That night, the visions came harder. He saw stormtroopers falling in a public square. He saw a child standing alive before a red blade. He saw Darth Vader turn that blade against the Emperor's servants. Luke woke, gasping, certain of one impossible truth. The monster inside Imperial armor was changing. In his hut, Obi-Wan Kenobi felt the disturbance as well. He did not speak Vader's name, but his silence told Luke enough. Something had shifted in the Force, and that shift was dangerous. Far above the outer rim, Vader felt the distant echo in return. A presence? Young, familiar, impossible. He gave secret orders at once: delay the fleet, release political prisoners, and erase records of the spared child. Quietly, carefully, he began turning Imperial machinery against itself. But Palpatine felt the same tremor. He knew Vader's mercy was no longer an accident. It was leading him towards someone. When Luke stepped outside before dawn, a single Imperial probe droid hovered above the dunes, scanning his home. He froze. Somewhere in the galaxy, Vader had reached for the light. and now the Emperor was reaching back. Luke watched the machine turn toward him. Inside the Force, two futures collided. One led to the Empire's chains, the other led straight to the father he had never known. And the desert was about to catch fire first. Last lines Luke had felt the change before he understood it. Now, the Empire had come to his door because of it. And the next move would force Vader to choose between hiding his rebellion or saving his son. Palpatine did not send more spies to Tatooine. This time, he sent a command that cut deeper than any blade. Vader was to travel to the desert world, find the boy under Imperial watch, and kill him with his hand. Only then would the Emperor believe his apprentice still belonged to the dark side. The order struck Vader like fire through scars. He knew who the boy was. Luke's presence in the Force had become impossible to deny. The same courage, the same ache, the same light he had once believed was gone forever. Vader arrived before sunset. Imperial probes had surrounded the Lars homestead. Troopers were closing in. Luke stood beside Obi-Wan Kenobi, shaken but ready, a blaster in his hand, and questions burning in his eyes. Then Vader stepped from the dust. No one moved. Obi-Wan raised his saber. Luke lifted his weapon. Troopers aimed at all three. Vader looked at his son and made the choice Palpatine feared most. "Stand down," he said. The stormtroopers hesitated. Vader cut down the nearest squad before they could fire. Blaster bolts ripped through the yard. Obi-Wan joined the fight at once, blue light crashing against red and white. Luke ducked behind a moisture tank, then pulled a fallen trooper's rifle into his hands. For the first time, father and son fought on the same side, even if Luke did not understand why. When the last trooper fell, silence returned with the desert wind. Obi-Wan stared at Vader in disbelief. Luke stared in confusion. Vader turned to him. "You are my son." Luke froze. The words hit harder than the battle. Before he could speak, the sky thundered. Imperial shuttles broke through the clouds. Palpatine had expected betrayal. This had been the final test. Now he came for them all. Vader had chosen Luke over the Emperor, and there was no path back. Palpatine was no longer hunting rebellion in the shadows. He was coming to destroy it himself. And when the next battle began, the Empire would start tearing itself apart. Palpatine's shuttle landed in a storm of sand and fire. Elite guards poured into the Lars homestead while TIE fighters screamed overhead. Luke stood beside Obi-Wan, shaken but ready. Vader stepped forward and faced his master at last. The Emperor did not rage. He smiled. "This was always your weakness, Lord Vader," Palpatine said. "You could not kill the past." Force lightning exploded from his hands. It tore through the courtyard, smashing walls and throwing Luke into the dust. Obi-Wan raised his blade, but the Emperor's power drove him back. Vader moved between them and took the full blast on his armor. For a moment, he looked like a machine burning alive. Then Anakin Skywalker answered. With a roar, Vader surged through the lightning and seized Palpatine by the throat. The Emperor struck harder, trying to drown him in pain, in fear, in every chain that had ruled him since Mustafar. But Vader did not let go. He looked at Luke through the fire and saw not failure, not loss, but one last chance to save what remained of his family. Luke rose and joined him. Father and son attacked together, one with strength, the other with hope. Obi-Wan held back the guards as the duel tore apart the homestead. At last, Vader lifted Palpatine from the ground and dragged him into the path of his own shuttle engines. The Emperor screamed, then vanished in flame. Silence followed. Vader fell to one knee, his armor ruined, his breath broken. Luke caught him before he hit the ground. Obi-Wan watched in silence as Vader removed his shattered mask. For the first time, Luke saw Anakin's face. The Sith had died with Palpatine, but the Empire still lived. And across the galaxy, fleets were choosing whether to hunt Skywalker or follow him. Palpatine was gone, but his empire was still armed, angry, and leaderless. Vader had destroyed the Sith, yet redemption came with a cost written across the stars. And as Luke held his father in the desert night, a new battle for the galaxy was only beginning. The desert did not stay quiet for long. Palpatine was dead, but his final command had already spread across the Imperial chain. Every nearby destroyer received the same order: secure Tatooine, kill Luke Skywalker, and recover Darth Vader alive if possible. But when officers learned the Emperor was gone, the order became a question of power. Some captains wanted revenge. Others wanted survival. A few, shaken by rumors of Vader's rebellion, refused to fire on the planet at all. Within hours, the Imperial fleet above Tatooine split into hostile camps. Turbolasers flashed across the void. High squadrons turned on each other. The Empire was now at war with itself. On the ground, Obi-Wan pushed Luke to move. Vader's armor was failing fast. Each breath sounded like a machine dying in the dark. Luke wanted answers, but there was no time. He and Ben dragged Vader to an old smuggler route hidden beyond the Dune Sea, while homing beacons searched the sands behind them. Vader used what strength he had left to give one final command. Through a stolen comm channel, he ordered loyal officers to stand down, protect civilian worlds, and deny Coruscant to the Emperor's worst followers. Many dismissed it, but some listened. For the first time, men in gray uniforms heard Darth Vader speak like Anakin Skywalker. That changed everything. Rebel cells intercepted the same message. Mon Mothma could hardly believe it. Leia Organa believed even less. Vader had been the face of terror for years. Yet now Imperial worlds were reporting ceasefires, prison releases, and mutinies carried out in his name. At sunrise, Luke looked at the broken man beside him and saw a future the galaxy could not yet understand. Then the hidden comm crackled. Leia Organa's voice cut through the static. She was already on her way. The Emperor was gone, but the war had only changed shape. Now Luke had Vader, Leia was coming, and the Empire was breaking into pieces above them. And when those pieces finally crashed together, the next battle would decide who inherited the galaxy. Leia Organa reached Tatooine as battle burned overhead. Rebel pilots followed Imperial distress signals, expecting a trap or massacre. What they found was stranger. Stormtroopers lay dead around the Lars homestead. Imperial shuttles smoldered in the dunes, and in the center of it all, Luke Skywalker knelt beside Darth Vader. Leia stepped down the ramp with her blaster drawn. Seeing Vader's broken armor, every wound the Empire had carved across the galaxy rose inside her. Alderaan, prison cells, torture, fire, fear. She did not see a father turning back to the light. She saw the monster who had hunted them through every nightmare of the war. Luke stood between them. His face was pale, his voice raw. He told her the truth as fast as he could. Vader had saved him. Vader had turned on Palpatine. Vader had killed the Emperor. Each word sounded impossible, yet the force around them carried no lie. Obi-Wan said nothing at first. Leia lowered her blaster, but not her anger. Vader tried to rise and failed. His respirator sparked. His voice came harsh and thin through the damaged mask. He did not ask forgiveness. He did not beg for trust. He only gave warning. Coruscant was collapsing into a struggle for succession. Imperial governors, fleet admirals, and secret police commanders were all moving at once. Whoever controlled the throne world would control what remained of the Empire. That message split the rebel command when it reached their ships. Some leaders wanted Vader executed before his wounds healed. Others wanted him dragged to trial as proof that the Emperor was truly dead. Mon Mothma saw the larger danger. If ruthless Imperials seized Coruscant first, whole sectors might burn rather than surrender. Vader knew the capital better than anyone alive. He knew its shield grid, defense rings, and weakness. That made him useful. It also made him terrifying. Leia heard the arguments over open channels and felt something colder than rage. The rebellion was being asked to trust the hand that had strangled it for years. Yet Luke would not back down. He said the galaxy had one chance to stop an Imperial civil war before billions were trapped between warlords. If Vader truly meant to destroy what he had built, this was the hour to use him. At dusk, a coded transmission came from Coruscant. Senatorial districts were in flames. Mass arrests had begun. In the chaos, Imperial security forces were sealing the old Jedi temple, now the Emperor's palace archives. Hidden inside were records of black sites, prison worlds, and command keys that could activate loyal fleets across the core. Vader looked at Leia, then at Luke. "If they reach those vaults first," he said, "the galaxy burns with them." No one answered for a long moment, not even Obi-Wan. Then Leia made the choice no one expected. She ordered medical teams to keep Vader alive until they reached orbit. Not because she trusted him, not because she forgave him, but because if Coruscant was about to decide the fate of the galaxy, she refused to let the Empire write that ending alone. As rebel ships lifted from the sands, Luke remained at Vader's side. Above them, Imperial destroyers were still firing on one another, their wreckage falling like metal rain across the night. Tatooine had become the first battlefield of a new war, one with no clear sides and no rules left standing. And at its center sat a dying Sith Lord, a furious princess, and the son who believed they could still become a family before the stars tore apart. Leia had not forgiven Vader. Luke had not left him. And Coruscant was already burning. Now the rebellion was flying straight into the heart of Imperial collapse, carrying the one man who had helped build it. And when they reached the throne world, the galaxy would learn whether Darth Vader could truly help save what he once helped destroy.